We're going live, and we're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here with Cheesehead TV with some extra cheese, late edition here on Thursday afternoon. Sorry it is so late. I was at the Mets game with my fair daughter earlier today, so my entire day has kind of gotten pushed back, but never miss a chance to chat with you fine folks, including Jimmy here in the comments. Just me and Jimmy hanging out. Here's a few more people. What's up, everybody? Good to see everyone. No major earth-shattering news today, so that's good. Maybe can touch on a lot of different things, or maybe we'll just be a 5-minute chat. Nobody will have anything to say, and we'll just move on with our lives and get ready for the Bucks game and talking about Drake. I just gotta say, it is hilarious how Drake has taken up residence rent-free in some Bucks fans' heads. It is funny to watch. Michael, thank you. Yeah, the game was fun. The Mets actually won. Who would have thunk it? They're on a bit of a tear lately. Yeah, it was great. It was a good time. The kids, we do it every year, and the kids always have a ball. And hearing like literally thousands of little kids chant "Let's go Mets" from the nosebleed section it's pretty cool. Kevin, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. Mississippi in the house. What's up, David? How are you? Let's discuss your daughter's level 4 clearance. Jesse, I would, except then I'd have to kill you. That's top secret stuff. I'm surprised she even let that out. Dom and Zook get a lot of much-deserved criticism, but after hearing Mike Smith, maybe Winston Moss was the worst coaching mistake. Whiskey, I'm going to tell you something. Winston Moss catches a lot of grief for obvious reasons, specifically because of his public shenanigans with the press. But I will say, I have seen with my own eyes some unedited, unaired footage from NFL films of Winston Moss on the sideline during games. And I mean, that's a guy who, say whatever you want about what he did towards the end of his Packers tenure. But, for a while there, he was a motivating force on that staff. And it was easy to see why McCarthy liked him and kept him around, why he was valuable. Like a lot of guys who stuck around with Mike throughout the years, I think he wore out his welcome. I think a lot of people towards the end of Mike's tenure were there getting paid, including Mike himself. But that doesn't mean he didn't do good work in the past. Now, as things went on, yes, I think things definitely tapered off. But I'm not one of those people who's going to condemn Winston Moss and say he's a terrible coach. I know too many people who've worked with him and who say he is a good coach. And coaching in general is really hard to judge from the outside. So I tend to try and stick with the opinions of people who are in the room and actually work with the man. And obviously, there are people out there who saw the slide and have things to say about it. But for the most part, during the bulk of his tenure in Green Bay, he was a pretty good coach, all things considered. What position has the most competition? Good question, Patrick. Well, outside linebacker has been given an influx of talent. I don't know how much competition there is. I think the Smiths obviously will probably start things to begin with on the outside as starters, and then you'll see a healthy mix of Gary and Fackrell, etc. The safety is pretty much, the pecking order there is very much set. I think wide receiver is going to be an interesting one to watch. Just how those reps get divvied up, especially early on in camp, and who can make a move to secure more playing time. Offensive line, I think, is set. You get Turner sliding in there to right guard. I think it's his job, obviously, to lose. Maybe left guard with Lane Taylor if he shows that he's not on his way to bouncing back. Maybe that becomes an open competition. My initial thought is wide receiver is probably the one where that's going to be the competition to watch during training camp. Next, how would you grade the offseason? A+. Yeah, we'll see how it works out. I think he's done I think Gudykunst has done a really good job of identifying where their weaknesses were and really raising the talent level. I am curious to see how everything works on offense. we talked a lot here on this channel, on Packer Transplants, podcasts, on the website itself, about the offensive line, about the need to improve. And now, obviously, he has brought in some pieces. Turner in free agency, Jenkins in the draft, Cole Madison is back, etc. Is that going to be enough? We'll have to wait and see. But, for the most part, I really like what Gudykunst has done. Problem is, I liked what he did last offseason, with a few exceptions, and that all kind of fell apart on him. So we'll see. Favorite Mike Holmgren story? Oh, Andrew, I don't know. Off the top of my head, one of my favorites has always been the one when they're in, I think it was in Milwaukee early on, and it was super cold, and Mike is chewing out Favre on the sideline after a play or during a timeout or whatever, and where he's talking to him at first, and then Favre is looking at him with like kind of a look, and Mike finally grabs him and says, hey, pay attention. And Favre says, Coach, I'm sorry, but you should see your mustache right now. I love that one. I also liked when he grabbed Billy Schrader's face mask. And I know all the new school people, you shouldn't need to do that as a coach. And sorry, I loved it. If they traded Josh Jones, what would they get for him? Aaron, I would be surprised if they got more than a 6th round pick. And I know most people would probably not give that up, considering that they drafted him in the 2nd round. Maybe they end up getting something like a 4th. But that Gudykunst would be a magician, an absolute Jedi, if you got a 4th for him. Will we see any major differences in special teams under the new coaching staff? That is, not to date myself, but that's a $64,000 question. You would hope so. And I know the joke would be there's no place to go but up. But, until we see these guys on the field and see what, if any, differences they do drill-wise, emphasis-wise, how much of LaFleur's program is dedicated to it. Because, look, every coach pays lip service to special teams. Mike McCarthy did it for 13 years. But they never put any real emphasis on it. Not any, true, legitimate emphasis on it until maybe 2013, 2014, when they switched practice schedules a bit. But, that starts with the head coach. And we'll see what kind of priority it is for LaFleur once we get to training camp. Greetings from Minnesota. What's up, Nick? Is Jake Kummerow going to be a star? I wouldn't say he's going to be a star, but I think he will be a contributor. Now, I say that, and I'll watch him get cut tomorrow. That's kind of how it goes here. She said TV, but I think he can be a major contributor. A star feels a bit much, but I guess it's all dependent on your definition of the word. Are we relying on development of Oren Burks or Josh Jones to cover receivers' backs coming out of the backfield? Seems like our linebackers are always struggling. Well, I think they're definitely counting on development from Oren Burks. There's no doubt about that. They used a pretty significant draft pick on the kid. Don't forget, though, those covering the backs of the backfield, etc., that's everybody's responsibility, not just the inside guys. You're going to want safeties doing that. There are times you're going to have corners doing that. And Pettin uses a ton of sub packages that have 6, 7 defensive backs on the field at one time. So will they need to improve in that area? Absolutely. No question about it. And I think Blake Martinez will have to improve in that area. And I think Oren Burks is going to have to provide something. But it's not just the inside linebackers that have to do that. And let's see what Ty Summers has to offer as well. Don't forget him. Hey, Nags, did the Mets let your daughter down today? It was funny because she did say, I put up that quote on Twitter, the Mets always lose. That's a fact. That's what she said. And then they won. So, no, she was very happy. She likes going out to the ballpark. She likes watching the Mets win. She's just not seen it happen a whole lot. Nags, I hope we run the ball this year to open up the pass. David, I think you will see a concerted effort to run the football more. That is one of the things I am most looking forward to in training camp, is to see how LaFleur structures his practices and what kind of emphasis he puts on the running game, how much of an emphasis as far as practice time goes. Because as Ryan Grant famously said here on this YouTube channel during the season, when he went to Washington, to the staff that actually LaFleur was on back in the day, they did more under Kyle Shanahan when it came to the running game in one practice than they did in an entire week when he was in Green Bay with McCarthy. And that's, good or bad, whatever your philosophy is. Mike had Aaron Rodgers and he was chucking it around the yard and they were scoring a ton of points. So, it's hard to fault it, but you get what you emphasize and you are practicing for a reason. You're putting that emphasis on a running game because you want to get that zone stretch play going so well that everything else flows off of it. And that's the lip service so far that LaFleur has been playing. Every time he's been asked about his offense, as far as philosophical, what is it based off of, et cetera, he has always stated that zone running scheme. It all is predicated on that. So one would think we're going to see a ton of time devoted to it, at least by the way he's talking. Now, let's see if that happens. But, if he is true to his word, yes, I think you're going to see a healthy amount of the run game. And I think that's a good thing, especially where Aaron Rodgers is in his career, as he called it, the back nine a couple years ago. Aaron's not getting any younger. Take some pressure off of him, run the football, give him some more 2nd and 3s to deal with rather than 2nd and 9s. I really hope that he does lean into the running game. But again, the NFL's history is littered with coaches who talk about running the football in May. It doesn't mean anything come September. We'll find out. Any weaknesses apart from maybe depth at safety? Yes, it's early, but I can see a top 5 D. Daz, I sung about this yesterday. I literally sang. Slow down. You move too fast. Everybody wants top whatever defense. Let's line up right first. Let's defend the pass without defensive backs pointing fingers at each other afterwards. If they can do that, then we can start talking about rankings. And I know on paper they look great. As far as your initial question, I totally agree with the idea that they need some depth at safety. But long way to go. Do you feel the green and gold should just play with what they have done so far, or should they still bring in players? Should they still be looking, in my opinion? I think they're always looking. Brian Gudykunst said it on my podcast a couple weeks ago. They're always going to be churning over definitely the bottom part of the roster. You saw yesterday, the news came out that they put in, the name escapes me, but they put in a waiver claim for the tight end cut by the Jets. So they're always in motion, always looking to kind of bring guys in where they feel it's necessary, or if a prospect that they like comes available. I don't think you're going to see any major signings. That could change. Who knows? But, look, OTAs are going on right now, right? News coming out every day. There was somebody earlier today in San Francisco, Jimmy Ward, broke his shoulder diving for a ball. I was talking to a Packers scout a couple weeks ago, and this is the perfect point. And this is an old scouting thing, and sometimes you maybe get caught up in the off season and you look at depth charts and you're thinking, oh, this is great and this is what their needs are. And oh, maybe they need this. Look, Jimmy Ward breaking his shoulder today. That changes what your needs are like that. And tomorrow we could wake up and somebody's arrested. And who knows? It's a huge story, right? And then your needs have changed like that. So I think they're always going to be looking to improve their team. They're always going to be hoping that they can see progression in their own guys, but also be on the lookout for any kind of talent that becomes available, either through guys that are cut or maybe low-level trades, maybe high-level trades. Who knows? But they're always working. They're always looking. And again, your needs today are not necessarily going to be your needs tomorrow. Why don't the Packers have an official YouTube presence? Could not find a channel. Tony, I think they. Maybe they don't. I know they have the channel within the NFL, I think, on Apple TV and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if they have I know they're on Facebook, but I don't think they're on YouTube. Maybe they are. I haven't looked. You know why? Because they don't employ Cheesehead TV, which they should, clearly. Alex, you finally caught an extra cheese. Welcome to my digs here. I'll just show you guys around. We got the football field on the big screen and got the cameras over here. They're all quiet because everyone's busy doing other real work. They can't make me look all professional. So let's see. Next Patreon guest, Patrick. I'm not quite sure. I had a player lined up for last night, but then he had to reschedule. So I try not to I don't want to put it out there beforehand, because then, like last night, if it doesn't happen, then it's very ad hoc. I'm just doing this, at home with my computer. So I don't have a booking agent or anything like that. So, and this is all usually done via email, text, or DM. So it's not it's not a complete lock solid proposition, but I'll have somebody up pretty soon. Reggie White or Clay Matthews, who is your favorite? Oh, Reggie White. Come on, that's not even a question. Who excites you the most, new coaches or new players? Oh, Darnell Savage, 1 billion%. I am so excited to see this kid on the field. After 2 big additions, how do you feel about the offensive line? Nick, I feel really good about it on paper. That doesn't mean a whole lot, but I really like the idea of Turner there at right guard. We got him. The rubber needs to hit the road, and we won't know anything until the pads come on. But yeah, I feel much better about the possibilities there and the potential than I did down the stretch last season. Have you seen the Building the Browns series on YouTube? I have, William, and it is flipping fantastic. You'd love to see something like that for Green Bay, yeah. Well, I actually asked Gudykunst if he had seen the draft stuff that the Colts and the Bills had produced. And, he said, don't expect anything like that in Green Bay anytime soon. Now, that was about the draft room itself on draft day. And he said, their philosophy has always been what happens in the draft room stays in the draft room. As far as a series possibly looking at the scouts and those guys on the road, etc. I love that idea. And I've spoken to people with the Packers about, access and the idea that, we as fans, we eat this stuff up and we want to be connected to our team. And they're so conservative by nature that they just don't, I don't think they don't see it. I don't know what it is, but this is how closed off they are. They're scouts. Some of those guys have a social media presence. They were told, and for a while there, a lot of these guys scout with the Green Bay Packers, etc. on Twitter. They were all made to take all of that information off their Twitter accounts. That's how buttoned up the Packers are about it. So I think a YouTube series about those guys out on the road is a pipe dream. And I don't know who sets that tone. Maybe that's a Mark Murphy thing. I think it's beyond ridiculous. They are in an entertainment industry. Oh, and they love to tout how they are the fan-owned team. Right. God forbid you actually do something to connect to said fans. And I think this is a big problem. And I think Mark Murphy's doing a great job shepherding this team into the next decade beyond, especially with Titletown, which I think will be his ultimate legacy, along with these new hires of GM and coach. But my problem is they keep catering to the fan base that sits on its hands on third down. They keep catering to a fan base that sells its season tickets, for the most part, to rival fans. So we have lots of purple when the Vikings visit, rather than the next generation of fan, the people who are on social media. Their Twitter account is so terrible because it's catered to people who don't use Twitter. It makes no sense to me. Be where your fans are. You want to make the in-game experience whatever you want to make. Fine, I get that. I get it. I mean, I wish it was a little bit more forward-looking, but I get it. But on social and video, make stuff for people who are on social and video. That's just me. No. It all seems quite hush-hush. On that topic, how did Gudykunst know that Savage would be gone by 30? Undoubtedly, he knows somebody on staff from a team that was going to take him. You got to remember, it's a big fraternity. And a lot of these people come up together and work together at various places. And then they get to other shops. But they still talk. They still hang out at the combine. They still know they have guys they can trust. It's not unlike reporters, and getting a scoop. So, yeah, I don't doubt Gudykunst for a second when he says that he knew Savage wouldn't be there at 30. All I want to see is Savage running around the field at 100 miles per hour. Huh. Aaron from Antarctica. All right, now I think we're back to like making stuff up. This happened last year where people were like trying to one up the, hey, I'm checking in from this exotic, crazy location. I mean, if you are in Antarctica, that's amazing. I suspect you're not telling the truth, but that is pretty cool if you are. Do you think they bring in Campbell soon? Jillian, I think hopefully if he can pass a physical. He tore his ACL really late in the year. So I think it's going to be a while. I think you just have to look at his tape last year, and he was by far their best tackler in the secondary. Now you never know what's an ACL is going to rob a guy of as far as flexibility, movement, quick twitch, etc. But I hope they bring him back. And I don't know when that would be. I don't know when he'll be able to pass a physical, but I would think if he can, they should at least explore the possibility. Do I think Zeke gets suspended? I tell you what, I doubt it, but who knows? I saw today that the owner of the Patriots might not get suspended. What? A player can be like proven innocent, but still around whatever the bad thing is, and then he gets suspended. But this dude gets caught on camera and arrested, but he doesn't get suspended? I don't know, man. Checking in from non-one-upping Central Virginia. What's up, William? Thanks for joining us. Does Aaron Jones play 16 games? Yes. How will the O-line adjust to the new scheme? I think they're excited about it. I've talked to David Bakhtiari a little bit about it a month ago. It's not crazy different from what they were already doing. Obviously, I think some of the teaching points and some of the finer details will be different, but for the most part, it's still zone scheme. You're doing a lot of what you've already been doing, and the Packers have always tried, at least since Thompson was there, and now with Gudykunst, they've always tried to bring in guys who are athletic, who can be cross-trained, etc. So I don't think it's going to be a monster adjustment. I do think they're going to do it a lot more, and we'll see how they take to that. Most offensive linemen would, if you ask, they much prefer to run block than to pass block because then you're the aggressor. But we'll see. I think for the most part, though, it'll maybe not seamless, but close to it as far as the transition goes. Checking in from Mars, Texas. I like it. Tanya make the 53. Woo! We'll see. I mean, I think so, but you never really know. I mean, these guys, he showed promise last year. There's no doubt about that. But can he build on that? If he comes in doing exactly what he was when he left, then maybe not. You got to show progression. There's no sure thing. I mean, I really like the kid. He definitely caught. I mean, he caught your eye last summer. There's no doubt about that. And he made the most of his limited opportunities, other than the drop in that last game. But yeah, I really like his potential. It's up to him to reach it. How do you feel Vitale fits the role? Could he play Kyle? Oh, Spencer, that's a really good point. I don't know if he can be. I don't know what kind of a receiver he is. I would love to be able to utilize him like that. And I know Kyle Shanahan does a great job of that out in San Francisco. But yeah, I just don't know. I haven't seen enough. I mean, I didn't love him last year in Mike's scheme. Let's see how he fits in this one. How do you feel about Gudykunst after 2 years? I know it's early. Just curious. I really want him to kick ass, right? I mean, I like him as a dude. I don't know about his evaluation so far. I think it's pretty good, but it's, like you said, it's really early, and I'm praying that everything gels this year and they start kicking ass again. But if they go another year without making the playoffs, I don't know. I know the first-year coach will be used as an excuse, but you didn't do anything to help the offense. So your judgment must have been that LaFleur, this coach, would be good enough to turn the offense back around, right? That's on Gudykunst, ultimately. So the jury's still out. I really like him. I really want him to succeed. Devin, I saw your thing, man. Just relax. Relax. I didn't clean over you. You said you were disappointed they didn't get any of the Devons. That's not a question. That's a statement. You want to ask a question? I'll answer it. What are DJ Nagler's go-to bar closing songs? Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I love that track. Nags, I'm going out of my way to hit Kettle of Fish this year. How's the happy hour, William? It's excellent. I love Kettle of Fish, man. That place is so great. J.K. Scott, top 3 punter. I don't know if he'll be top whatever, but I just want him to be consistent. I want him hitting, I want him hitting the football the way in December, the way he does in August. We just need consistency out of the kid. I don't care about his ranking. I just want him to be consistent. Is Jair the most handsome Packer ever? No. Why do we not have a second long snapper in camp after Hunter Bradley nearly missed the punter on a few occasions last year? Because they undoubtedly have people on their emergency board who they will call and or look to if he doesn't improve. It's not somebody you're going to waste a roster spot on. And Devin disappears. Any poor punt has the upside that we can think of Banky getting all upset. That's so true. It's so true. Whose contract is up at the end of this season? Mike Daniels. Is it just me, or does Kenny Clark look more muscular and less fat? I don't know. I admonished somebody yesterday. I don't really pay attention to that stuff for pictures on the internet. When I'll look at guys live at practice and make some determinations that way, but you're looking at pictures. I have no idea. Alexander's cockiness might be an issue down the line. What say I? Devin, I love his cockiness. I don't think it's an issue at all. I want him cocky. I want him in the face. It's like Jalen Ramsey, right? I mean, I want a guy who's like, he's going to get beat and doesn't care. He's going to get up and yak and get in guys' heads and get in guys' faces. I love it, man. I'm all for it. I don't think it's a problem at all. Any positions thin in your opinion? Safety and tight end are the two that concern me a little bit. But for the most part, I think Gudykunst has done a good job of solidifying things. I want you, Fennel, and Herman to collab on something. It'd be a great mix of talents. Spencer, that's a good idea. Although it sounds like Andy Herman got a new gig. He'll still be working with Cheesehead TV, but he's working with some new venture. They're just launching, so check that out. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name right now. Any updates on Cheesehead TV and training camp? No, but it's coming soon, I promise. I get asked a lot, and we've got a lot of stuff cooking, a lot of plates in the air. You guys will know as soon as we're ready to announce. All right, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much, everybody. I can't thank you guys enough. I know I give you guys grief sometimes, but it really means a lot that you spend even a few minutes of your day coming here to talk Packers with me. It's the best. It's like a mini little family. Really means a lot. I will be back at some point tomorrow. And in the meantime, make sure you're checking out everything we do at Cheesehead TV, the Facebook, the YouTube, etc. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night.